Welcome, welcome, everyone. I still see folks are joining. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining Ginnie Mae's demonstration of the single-family pool delivery module for manual entry pool submissions. We are targeting this training to those issuers who plan to manually enter single-family pool and loan data in SFPDM. As we transition from GinnieNET to SFPDM, there are no development requirements for manual entry issuers to begin using the application. So we encourage you all to do so. If you currently deliver to Ginnie Mae using GinnieNET, you should already have access to the new modernized single-family pool delivery module. And as a manual entry user, you can start using SFPDM today. If you are an issuer who plans to import pool delivery dataset XML files, you are certainly welcome to join us for this demonstration as well. Throughout the presentation, we will allow you to ask questions according to the instructions that are on your screen right now. With that said, hold on, let's see, we got one question. Can you please share how frequently our issuers perform single-family pooling activities via manual entry? Yes, we do have that information. That's an internal question from Ginnie Mae. So yes, Carol, we do have that information on a weekly basis. We know who's submitting XML files and who is manually entering pools. So yes, we do have that information. With that question answered, and with that said, thanks again for attending, everyone. And let me hand it over to Padma, who will provide the single-family pool delivery module training. Padma?
Thank you, Nicole. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Padma Singaraju. I'm the business analyst for the SFPDM application. Today, along with Mr. Wade Gale, Manager Operations, we welcome you to the demo of the SFPDM application. Towards the end of the demo, you will learn how to create a pool manually. I hope you all are excited. Before I begin, I would like to check if everybody is able to see my screen. Yes?
Yes, I can see
Okay,
it,
thank
Padma.
you.
Yes, we can see
Thank you. I'm giving the demo from the lower environment. I'm currently logged in as an authorized user for the issuer 6011. As a new issuer beginning to pool in SFPDM, you're required to do some setup in SFPDM application. We will first walk you through the setup before we show you how to create a pool. I'm currently logged into the application. As you see, SFPDM application has 4 tabs. It has My Dashboard, SFPDM Pools and Loan screen, the Maintenance screen, and the Reports tab. Throughout the demo, we will be using each of these tabs, and we will talk about the important features that are available on each of these screens, along with how to create a pool. We will be learning that throughout the demo. Now, as I mentioned, you are required to do some setup before you start your pooling process. We will first learn how to do that. That functionality is available on the SFPDM Maintenance tab. I'm now navigating to the SFPDM Maintenance tab, where you will be setting up the subscriber information when you start pooling. The subscriber information is available under the Maintenance tab. You navigate to the FRB Subscriber Information tab, wherein as a new issuer, when you first log into the screen, when you land on the screen, you will not see any records. I have created a record for the demo purpose, which is the subscriber information here. But when you log into your account, you will create a new record by using this Add button here. The blue button that you see here is where using this, you will be creating a new record. When you click on this add button, you will be presented with a new screen, which all the elements, blank elements, which you will populate. You will enter all the elements. These are the subscriber informations for the investor name, the bank account delivery description, the institution telegraphic abbreviation name, and etc. After you populate each of these records, elements, you save your record, which I've already done in the interest of the demo time. And I'm canceling this record because I've already created this, but you would enter all the records and click on save to save your data. Now, this is how the record would look. You can always revisit this information and edit it for any changes. Since I've already created this record, I'm going to show you how to edit this record for any updates. By clicking the edit button, you would see all the information. The record is now editable. You make your necessary changes, you save, and you exit. This is the first step to create the FRB subscriber information before you start polling. Another important element for creating the pool is the master agreements ACH info. This information is readily available for you, but you have to complete your MAMS forms for it to flow down to SFPDM. After you complete your MAMS forms, the ACH P&I information and T&I information flow down from GinnieNET and are available here for you to view. Both of these subscriber information and the master agreements information are very important, without which you will not be able to create a new pool. Wade, would you like to add anything here?
Just good afternoon, everyone. Don't let that screen intimidate you. It looks a little bit different than what we currently have in our legacy system, but it's actually asking basically for the same information. There might be 2 new fields there, but the same delivery instruction should be used according to how it's set up in GinnieNET at this moment. So don't let that screen intimidate you, because it does look a little bit different. Padma?
Thank you.
Padma, would you talk a little slower, please?
Sure, will do. Thank you. Any questions from anyone on this setup? Okay. So now that the setup is complete, let's move on and learn how to create a pool. The functionality to create a new pool is available on My Dashboard and is also available on the SFPDM Pools and Loans screen. I'm navigating to the SFPDM Pools and Loans screen. You will see a bright blue button on the top right corner, which will now allow you to, using which you will be able to create a pool. The same button is also available on My Dashboard. By selecting this button, you will receive a pop-up using which you're able to create a new pool. There are 2 ways in which a pool can be created. Either you upload an XML or you create a pool manually. We will be focusing on how to create a pool manually. I would be using this option to create a pool today. By selecting this button, Enter Pool Manually, you will receive a new screen wherein you will enter all the elements required to create a pool. Now, the pool information in SFPDM is synonymous to what you're familiar with, the 11705 screen in GinnieNET and much more. It has the pool details information, it has the parties information, the general info, the master agreements, the certification agreement, and the subscriber info, everything conveniently combined and located under one single screen. Each of these sections can be individually collapsed or expanded. And this being a new system, and SFPDM also utilizes the MISMO standards, some of the names of the fields that you see here are different from what you are familiar with in the GinnieNET world. For example, the pool identifier, maybe you were calling it the pool number there. The trade books entry date, you were calling it the settlement date in GinnieNET. The functionality is the same. The elements are exactly the same, but they're known with a new name in the SFPDM application. Till the time you're familiar with it, there is a legacy document sheet that is readily available on the top right corner of the pool details screen, using which you're able to identify, see the mapping of what is the new element that is available on the screen here and what does it map to the legacy system. We recommend to print this out. This is a highly important document and a very useful document till the time you're familiar with the names in the SFPDM application. Now, going back to the pool details screen, as you see, there are several elements that need to be entered while creating a pool manually. Again, in the interest of time, I've already created a pool. We will go to the pool and see how each of these elements will be populated. I'm deleting this draft pool. All the pools that belong to you are listed under the SFPDM Pools and Loans tab. You will see a grid of all the pools that you have already created. Now, as a new issuer, you might not have so many of them, but you locate your pool using the pool ID here. And when you click on it, you will navigate to the pool details screen. This is the same screen that we saw earlier when we selected a new pool, but now this pool has all the elements already populated in it. Now the first section that we have here is the header info section, wherein you enter the pool identifier number, the issue date of the pool, with the amortization type, whether it is a fixed pool or a NAM pool, the class type, structure, and the suffix. This is slightly different from what you have in GinnieNET today. You were calling it XSF, CSF, MSF, etc. But now we know it as class type, structure type, and the suffix type. Beneath the header info, you have the parties info, where you select the custodian and the servicer, and also indicate whether it is a PIIT pool by indicating whether it is a yes or no, the transferee, and select the transferee. After that comes the general information, wherein you enter the state security trade percent, and some of the information for this pool is already populated for you. For example, the current principal balance amount, which is equal to the sum of all the loans UPB, is already calculated and derived and displayed. This is also useful in validating your data. Like for example, this is the math that was done by the system by counting or adding up the sum of all the individual loans that belong to this pool. This value is also delivered by you in the original subscription amount. If both of them do not match, if there is any error in the value that you entered, system would stop you from entering this amount and before saving the pool, indicating that, hey, this does not seem right. The value that you entered is different from the value that we calculated. And similarly, the number of loans in the pools are also calculated or displayed in this section. Now, every pool, as it goes through the timeline of the pool, it's in the draft status now. This is work in progress. You create the pool, you validate, you apply the edits to it, you submit it to the custodian. The pool gets issued. There's a timeline for that pool. The history of this timeline, who created it, when was it validated, can be viewed using the View History button that is available here. By clicking on this being a draft pool does not have much details in the timeline. But even then, this pool was created yesterday, and I did some validation on it. And again, I made some changes. It was in the draft state. All the timelines on who worked the pool, when was it updated, is available by selecting the View History button. Beneath that is the master agreements that we saw on the maintenance page. Those values, you want to enter the ABA routing ID or the transit ID, you don't need to remember the long numbers. By clicking on the search button here, it shows you the setup that was available on the maintenance screen. You select the record and that gets populated here. And then, as I said in the beginning, the pool details is not just the pool information. It is a lot more that is available on the screen. The certificate agreement, the Form 11.7b, even that setup is done on the screen. And then again, the subscriber information that we saw on the maintenance, which was a prerequisite for creating a pool. This is that section that whatever we created earlier is being utilized here. And then the last section of this is the pool statistics section. Again, this is calculated by the system. It gives you a snapshot of everything that belongs to this pool. This pool has one loan. It is an FHA loan. There are no other loans in this pool. What is the highest UPB? How many short-term loans in this, etc. are calculated. And the pool statistics section gives you a snapshot of all the important information of this pool. Now, while entering this information, SFPDM also prompts you, this application also prompts you with certain business validations for you to minimize the errors and ensure that you're entering clean data before you create this pool. For example, this pool ID, as we all know, the identifier is unique to the issuer. You cannot have two pools with the same ID. Now, if I try to change this and I enter an ID in error that already belongs to this issuer, it will stop me when I save the pool. I changed the number. It was a 52 number earlier, but I changed it. And in error, I gave a pool ID that was already utilized by this issuer. When I do it and I try to save my data, it stops you upfront with validations indicating that this is a duplicate pool ID. You have already used this. And by correcting it, you're able to save the data without any errors now. Do you see the error is I'm able to successfully save the data. Earlier, I was unable to. And not just that, there are other business rules or data validations. For example, the pool ID should always be a 6-digit number. Depending on the type of the pool, it has 2 characters followed by 4 numbers, whatever. I mean, if I make a mistake here and I do not give 1 character, the length of the pool ID does not match. As soon as I navigate away from the field is highlighted in red and it gives you an error. Please enter a valid pool identifier. It must be 6 digits, and it also gives you the business rules that will help you in entering the correct data. Let me go back and fix this, and you will see that the error is gone and the data was successful. It is green now. And similarly, the issue date, you can only create pools with an issue date of the current month or the next month. So in the drop down here, only those 2 options are available. Again, you will not be able to make any, reduce the errors here by using these pre-populated values and selecting only the applicable values here. Also, the settlement date of the pool, as we see here, which is called the trade book entry date in the SFPDM world, there are business rules around it. There are many rules actually. So when you go hover here, as soon as you hover to that field, the business rules are already displayed in a pop-up here. It says the trade book security trade book entry date must be a business date. It must be greater than the current date. It must be within the same month of the pool issue date. Everything is already mentioned here, which again allows you to enter the right data. And after you create the entire pool by populating all the values here, you go ahead and save your pool.
Padma, can you still slow down just a tad? Thank you.
Okay. Okay. And I just want to mention one thing here, the delivery to field that you have in GinnieNET. For those of you who are familiar with it, it's a single field separated by a slash, and you enter the values before and after the slash. It's a single field with 2 values in it. The way you enter the value in SFPDM is slightly different. You have the values in 2 different fields. Again, the mapping document gives you details of how to enter this field. It tells you the delivery date field, which of the value has to be before that and which of the values have to be after that. This belongs to the deliver to field. The institution telegraphic abbreviation name is part of the deliver to field. So wherever the names are different or the way you populate the values are different, those instructions are available in the legacy sheet. Any questions on any of the fields or how you populate the data here?
There was one question that came through the chat, Padma. They asked if you have more than 1 subscriber. I'm sorry, this came in earlier when you were doing the SFPDM on the SFPDM maintenance screen.
Mm-hmm.
If you have more than 1 subscriber, do you have to set up the ACH for taxes and insurance for each subscriber?
I believe yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Right. Now that the pool has been created with all the values, we will save the pool. There are other features that are available on the top. We will revisit this once we complete creation of the pool and the loan info. Wade, would you like to add anything here?
For me, it's just users, we just have to get used to the legacy name sheet. That's going to be our friend for a while until we get used to these new MISMO terms. So as Padma mentioned earlier, either you download this, put it on in a file, we can get to it easily because these names are, some of them are different from what we're used to in GinnieNET. So I would suggest we get used to that legacy name so we can do the comparison and see what actually needs to fill in those fields when we're setting up the pool manually. So Padma, over to you.
Thank you, Wade. Then know the questions on the pool details. We will now go and learn how to create a loan. We have created a pool. This does not have any loans in it yet. It is just an empty pool with 0 loans in it. Now it's time to add loans to this pool. The loans are added in the loans tab. You see, we are on the pool details tab. In order to add loans to this pool now, we navigate to the loans tab. When you begin creating a new pool, the number of loans in this pool would be 0. I have already created a loan. Otherwise, when you start, you would see the number of loans would be 0. This is the loan summary screen. It will give you a detail in the grid of all the loans that belong to this pool. As a new issuer for the new pool, you would see 0 loans. But since I have already created a loan, I'm seeing 1 loan here and the details of the loan in the grid. But whether it is the first loan you're creating or a subsequent loan, a pool can have multiple loans in it. You would create it using the Add a Loan button that is under the Loan Details tab. The look and feel of the Add a Loan button or the loan details screen is consistent for the user experience throughout the application. Whether you're creating add a pool or add a loan, you've already seen how it looks, and it is very similar to what you have seen on the add a pool button. When you click on add a loan, similar to the add a pool functionality, there are 2 ways you could create a loan. You can create a loan manually, or you could create a loan using the upload button. Since we are learning how to create a loan manually today, we would be selecting this option. By selecting this button, similar to the pool details screen that we had seen earlier, you will be presented with a screen with all the elements that belong to this loan that you will have to populate. The top section of this loan detail screen is the pool header info. This loan belongs to this pool that we have just created. This is a read-only information where it tells you all the header info about the pool. The pool statistics section that we saw on the bottom of the screen is also available on the on the loan details screen. Now, again, similar to the pool details, loan details section also has a similar layout and structure. It is made of several sections, each of which are again individually collapsible or expandable using these 2 buttons. Again, the names on the loan details screen are different from what we were using in the GinnieNET application. SFPDM, as I mentioned, utilizes the MISMO standards, and some of the names that you see here are different from what we have in GinnieNET. For the same reason, we again have a legacy name sheet that is available here, which gives you details of all the elements that are on the loan detail screen and the mapping of these names in the GinnieNET world. Now, the first section that you see here under the loan after the header is the general information, wherein you enter all the elements that belong to this loan, the current terms section, wherein you enter the interest rate, the P&I amount, the LPI amount, etc. If this loan is a modification loan, you select the button saying that it is a modification loan. This loan is currently a non-modification loan. Again, after the terms section, you have the property section wherein you provide the details of the property that belongs to this loan, the address of the property, the appraised value. There are some net new elements that you see here that were not there in GinnieNET. And after that comes the borrower information, where you enter the names of at least the primary borrower, which is a mandatory record. And then you can add up to 4 secondary borrowers, which are optional. And then this has the closing information for a non-modification loan. This being a non-modification loan, you have to enter only one section, which is the loan closing information. Again, as you see, there are a number of elements that need to be populated here. In the interest of time, I've already created a loan for you. We will look at the loan and see how each of these elements are entered in the loan details section. I'm going to discard this loan and take you to the loan that was already created. So in the grid here, on the loan details tab, where I said it will display all the loans that belong to this pool, you want to navigate to any particular loan, you click on the loan ID, it takes you to the loan. I have only one loan here, I'm selecting this. It takes me to the loan details screen. This is the same screen that we saw earlier when we clicked on add a loan, but now it has all the elements that are already been populated. Now let's look at each of these elements here. The current terms, this has an interest rate of 5.5. This is LPI due date of 2023-11, and this is a modification loan. When it is a modification loan, it should have two sections, a closing section and the modification section, right? What are the elements as of pre-modification and what are the new elements after the loan has been modified? So for this loan, when you look at the bottom, there are two sections. When we saw earlier for a non-modification loan, this modification section was not there. Now that we have selected this option as a modification loan, you will see that this section is repeated, some of the elements as of closing and as of modification. What was the maturity date as of closing and what is the new maturity date as of modification? What was the note amount as of closing? What is the note amount as of modification? There are two sections wherein you will populate this information. And similarly, you have the current terms, you have the identifiers, the agency case number, the important fields, the required fields are marked with an asterisk, and then you select the mortgage type. Depending on the mortgage type you select, there are 4 types. When the mortgage program type is auto-filtered for you. If it is an FHA loan, it can only take 2 values. And the buy down indicators, the premium and guarantee percentages, which are optional, and they're not applicable for an FHA loan. If this loan has curtailments, you will add the curtailments using the curtailment record, and the property information and the borrower information. I'd like to mention here that some of the fields that we have in SFPDM are slightly different from what we have in GinnieNET. For example, MISMO standards allow you in the PDD to enter the name has 4 fields here, whereas in the GinnieNET world, you had only 2 fields for the name. You only had a first name and last name, whereas in SFPDM, you have the first name, last name, middle name, and suffix. First name and last name are mandatory fields. They are required, and they're also present in GinnieNET. Middle name and suffix are optional fields. You see them? They're not marked with an asterisk. You don't have to populate them. Only these 2 required fields will be translated to GinnieNET. So if you have a borrower who has a middle name and you want the name to match the way you have entered it in GinnieNET, we recommend that you enter the middle name field in the first name. I have populated it here. Will and enter the middle name here. Do not provide it here because this field is still not present, is not present in GinnieNET. So the value would not match with the way you enter it in GinnieNET. For the 2 names to match, we recommend that the middle name, instead of entering it in the middle name field, populate it in the first name field with a space. This is how you've been doing it in GinnieNET, and you will do it the same way also in SFPDM here. I want to pause here for any questions on this name field.
No questions on the name field, Padma, but there are a couple of other questions. We got one question from Ryan Jameson. He asked, or she asked, if you can manually enter pool data and then upload a zip loan data.
Oh, yes. Not a zip loan. That's a great question. Yes,
Right,
pool
not
can
zip.
be an XML. XML, I will show you now.
Yeah.
Yes, you can do that. Any other questions on the loan details?
There is another question about credit score, but do you want to go ahead and show the XML? I think did you show that already?
I did, but I will go back and show again. Yes. Yeah. Credit score value. Yes, it is in the borrower section. Yes.
So the question is, since the credit score value is required only for the primary borrower, is this field based on the lender's decision-making or based on borrower that the insurance guarantee will be issued under? Example, primary borrower to whom insurance guarantee will be issued under has a credit score value of 750 and the secondary borrower has a credit score of 720. The credit score value of 720 was used by the lender's decision-making. I guess they're asking us which credit score to use versus where to put it.
In the application and also in the XML, credit score is only available for the primary borrower. The secondary borrower, I just added a record to show you, there is no credit score field. We only take it for it's only required to be delivered for the primary borrower. So to that question, I believe they have to provide it only for the primary borrower. We do not take for the secondary.
I think the question was more which one, but we'll have to take that one offline. Lovey, we'll look into that to give you that response.
Any other questions on the loan details before I navigate and show you how to add a loan using an XML?
There's another question. Can you now deliver mod via SFPDM?
Oh, yes. If that is modification loan, yes. We have seen how to create a loan using modification indicator. This is a modification loan.
The question was asked, when will the middle name be activated? That has not yet been determined just yet because we do have to push the data down to GinnieNET for certification. And currently GinnieNET doesn't doesn't ask for middle names. So we haven't yet determined when that will change.
If there are no other questions on this, I will show you how to add a loan using an XML. Now that this loan has been created and I'm saving my changes. Oh, because I had another secondary borrower and I did not populate those values. So it took me right to that section saying, hey, you have a secondary record, but it did not populate the required fields. I just added it for the demo. I don't need this record, so I'm deleting it. And I will now save my changes. No, a loan pool would typically have more than one loan, right? After you finish adding this loan, now you would want to add another loan. In order to do that, currently you will have to navigate back to the loans page, but we are constantly listening to you. We want to improve your user experience. As part of the upcoming enhancements, we are adding the add a loan button conveniently on the screen. Soon, by the time you start using this, you will have an add a loan and you don't have to navigate back to the loan details screen to add a loan. You will have the button readily available here. But for now, we have to navigate just one click away. You go back to the loans tab to add another loan. Now I will address the question on how to add a loan. This pool, as we saw, was created manually. We selected the add a pool screen, we selected enter manually, and we created this pool. But that does not mean that because the pool was created manually, all the loans that belonging to this pool also have to be added manually. You can add a loan either manually or by using an XML here. It is the same pop-up. When you click on the pop-up, it gives you both the options, and it does not restrict you to create a loan manually just because the pool was created manually. You can add a loan now using the upload button. Hope that addresses the question.
Yes, thank you, Padma.
Okay. Now that we have created the pool and the loan, the next step would be to verify if there are any validation errors in this. I'm already using new words. Validation, it is synonymous to applying edits in GinnieNET. Again, you don't have to leave the screen. You don't have to exit the pool to apply the edits. You can validate the pool on the pool details screen or on the loan details. You saw the button there. You validate, which means I'm applying the edits, right? By applying the edits, it will check for all the business rules for the pool and loan and will let you know if there are any errors in this pool. Now, SFPDM also generates notifications at every stage of the pool, whether you're creating the pool during import, also you're able to do the validations. But if you're creating a pool manually, you can validate the pool at this stage, and it will generate notifications at every stage informing you whether the pool has passed validation or there are any errors. If the custodian has certified your pool, if the authorized signer has attested your pool, there are different actions that are taken either by the issuer or by the system. For every action that is taken, either way, you will receive a portal notification keeping you informed about the success or failure of that action. Please note, I have 1,441 notifications here. Now, as I'm submitting this pool for validation, I first receive a pop-up saying that the pool has been sent for validation. You will be notified if there are any errors. I have already received the notification even before I could close the pop-up. You see the number has gone up. I have 42 notifications now. By clicking on the mailbox here, you will see that this pool has passed validation. You can I missed the notification reading the pop-up, but no issues. I can always go here, go to the mailbox, generate, see my notification and click on it. It opens the pop-up for me. This pop-up is very important. If you encounter any errors, while submitting this pool, or it is important that we note the notification. If you can send a screenshot of it, we will be able to tell you whether the pool passed and what are the errors. But you can also locate it using this notification. It tells you it has 3 parts to it. It is telling me that the business rule has passed, successfully completed. The validations have passed, and it is giving me a link to the pool. By clicking on the link here in the notification, I will be able to go to the pool directly. I don't have to search for that pool anymore. From the notification, I can easily navigate to that pool. This is a happy path for the demo. I have a pool wherein the validations have already passed. But in the real world, when you're creating a pool, it is possible that there will be validation errors in your pool. And if the pool has failed validation, you will receive a link to a report with all the errors in that report listed in that report. The link would be available here in the same notification. The notification would be slightly different. It would not tell you that it passed. It will tell you that the validation has completed, the validation has failed, and it will give you, instead of a poll link, it will give you a link to the errors report. I will show you where it is also located. Now, this being a happy path, the validation has already passed. I'm clicking on this and going to the pool detail screen. Everything looks good here, but if there were any errors in that pool, you will see the errors on top. We already saw a few errors when the business rules were not right, or the length or the pool values were, the data types and lengths were violated. It gave us errors on the top in a red box. Similarly, if the pool has any errors with validation, you would receive the errors on the top of the pool. Because this pool has successfully validated, you're not able to see any, or you don't see any errors on the top. Now that the pool has successfully validated, the next logical step would be to submit this pool to GinnieNET. Right? I would be doing that shortly, but before that, I would like to pause here. Wade, if you want to add anything.
Yes, Padma, I just wanted for you to demonstrate to the audience that you have that collapse all and expand all,
Yeah.
just as part of the navigation process during the SFPDM
Well done.
space.
This is how it looks. You can work on individual sections. You can expand all, and you can see all of those.
Yeah, thank you. And I know this is a lot of information in terms of the loan details screen. And again, I'm just emphasizing you have to know pay attention to that legacy names, because that's when you're gonna get used to the new MISMO standard. I know it's a little bit different from the setup and everything, but once you get used to the process and how you navigate the system, you'll find, oh, this is easy. When is the new version, next version coming along? So we're looking forward to you get into it and try and use it as much as possible. Thank you, Padma. Over to you.
Thank you, Wade. Before I submit this poll for to GinnieNET, I would like to know if there are any questions on this page or the process of validation.
Let me just see if there's any validation. Let's see. Are the validation errors only available to the user who ran the validation on the pool, or can others use or access the error reports?
It is available to everyone. The portal notification that you receive is sent to the entire authorized signer group. So not just the person who created it, you leave for the day and somebody else is picking up tomorrow, they can always come in, see the errors.
Here's another question. Thank you. Do we have to clear all the loan edits or just the loan we added?
All the loan edits.
Yeah.
It's just like GinnieNET. You apply the GenMake edits so the pool can be good, so you can actually go to host communication and send it. It's basically the same thing in SFPDM. You have to do the validation. The entire pool has to pass all those business rules before you can go on to the next stage.
Any other questions on this? Or I will now show you how to submit this pool. So far, we have created a pool. We have added loans to it. We have applied the edits. We have validated it. The pool has passed validation, and now we are submitting this pool to GinnieNET. You do that by selecting the submit button on the pool details screen. This is also available in other places. I will show you. By clicking the submit button, you receive a pop-up with the disclaimer. You attest to it, you agree, and you submit the pool to GinnieNET. This pool was in a draft mode until now, meaning you were able to go make changes, clear the edits, and make the necessary changes. You were able to edit that pool. But once you agree to and submit that pool, the pool is now being translated for initial certification to GinnieNET. Once this is done, the pool, you have already received a notification indicating that the pool has been submitted. But if you notice, the pool is now locked for editing. You will not be able to make any changes to this pool because it is already translated to the GinnieNET system. But now, if you want to make changes again, no issues. You can always recall this pool. I will refresh the screen and show you. The pool is now currently waiting for the authorized signer in GinnieNET. But if you want to make changes, you did this in error, or you want to make any other changes, you have a recall button using which you can recall the pool, make the necessary changes, and submit it again. Now that the pool has been submitted, I will show you the other features. As I promised in the beginning, we will see the other features that are available in SFPDM application. I'm currently on SFPDM Pools and Loans tab. A pool goes through various stages of the life cycle. We create a pool, make the necessary changes, add loans, apply edits. Until then, the pool is in the draft state. After that, we just submitted this pool for initial certification, and then it becomes initially certified. The custodian approves it, and then you're familiar. After that, the mainframe, it gets issued in 3 days. It's time for final certification, draft, etc. Now, this issuer has 252 pools, and they belong to various stages. The schedules that you see here not only indicate how many pools are in various stages of the life cycle, but also work as filters. By selecting the filter, for example, if I click on this schedule, it tells me that there are 17 pools that are submitted to GinnieNET. When I click on that, the filter is applied and it displays the 17 pools that were submitted. This is the pool we just created and submitted. It is in GinnieNET. DH6352. When there are so many pools, 252, and you want to search for a pool, you don't have to go through this entire list. You can search for a pool using the filters that are available here by typing any number of the pool, or if you don't remember, it filters and shows you that pool. The filter is available on the pool ID, the custodian ID, the dates. There are advanced filters beyond the capabilities that are available on this grid. You can search for pools using the advanced filters, which is the pool ID, issue date, anything, expand, and you can select for an issue date and search for all the pools belonging to that issue state. You also have some quick filters here, ready for submission. I have logged in as the authorized signer, but there is another user, the basic user. The basic user creates the pool, and the authorized signer will have to approve it and send it to GinnieNET. So this indicates all the pools that were created by the data entry user and is waiting for the authorized signer approval. You may mark some of your pools as your favorite pools. You can filter them by using this filter. Pools that have been rejected by the custodian. You have sent it to the custodian, but for some reason the names did not match, or for any reason the custodian has rejected that pool. You will be able to look for those pools by using this filter. Any pools, the question that was asked, am I receiving the notification because I created the pool, or the error report is available to everybody? Anybody can come in and search for that error pools by using the error filter here, and they can see the error report and fix them. Pools that have passed are available here. This is the grid wherein you will see all the pools that belong to you. By selecting the pool ID, you will navigate to that pool. I've done it a few times, but I have not mentioned that. By selecting the link on the pool ID screen, you're able to navigate to the pool details. I'm doing that now. We've already seen the screen when we created that pool, but there is a lot more available on the screen, which I've not taught you, I'm not shown you yet. So let me take you back to another pool. Yes, this is the recall I was mentioning. You have submitted the pool, but you have, and you realize that, hey, this pool has been submitted and already is waiting, logged for editing. I cannot make any changes, but I need to add something more. Maybe I need to add a loan. Maybe I need to make some changes. You recall your pool, and then you can make the changes. I wanted to show you the recall button. And also, there are other features I will show you now. Let me take a draft pool. The buttons that you see on the top. You have created the pool manually, but you would like to export this pool as an XML. You can do that using the export pool button. There is this documents, the 11705, the 11706, 11711B HUD forms, or any other reports, depending on the type of the pool. If it is a serial node pool, if it is a bond certification pool, there are other reports that are available in addition to these three standard HUD forms. All of those can be generated and are available readily. You don't have to exit the pool to generate these reports. The docs button is available on every pool and loan detail screen, and you're able to generate these HUD forms. I will show you how to generate it. Are available under the docs button by clicking on the 11705 or any other document that you would like to generate. When you click on it, the report is generated for you, the HUD form. This is available conveniently on every page, on the pool details, loan details, everywhere. You're able to generate not just the 11705 and the HUD forms, but also the error reports. Again, going back to that question, can anybody see this? Yes, any authorized signer or a data entry user, not limited to the user who created that pool, is able to come to this pool and retrieve the errors report that is located under the docs button. It is available in two versions. You have the PDF PDF version, and you also have the CSV version of that report. Now you can delete that pool if you have created an error. We have already seen the 3 buttons, the save. When you created a pool, you want to save your changes. You want to apply the edits or validate. And the last stage, when everything is good, you validate and submit it to GinnieNET. And on the top, the contact information is available. Again, this information is available handily on every pool and loan details page. The person who created the pool, the author document custodian, and the account executive, their name and contact information is available on every pool and loan page.
Padma, there is a question about the 11711B certification and agreement. Is there a way that you can see where those fields are? It says, was this
Yes.
authorized through the submission?
Yes, sure. It is available on the pool details screen under the certification and agreement section.
And that's a change to the legacy system. In GinnieNET, that has its own screen, but we just thought it was best to just combine this so to make it the flow a little bit easier. So you have certification agreement as part of the pool detail when you're actually doing the process. So it makes, I think it makes it a little bit easier to navigate instead of going in and out. So it's right there on the pool detail screen.
There was another question about, can 11705 and 706 forms be generated for multiple pools at one time?
Great question. Yes. Not in this release, but yes, the upcoming release, yes, you're able to generate it. I will show you how. Currently, this feature is only available at an individual pool, only on the pool details, but I'm going to show you the reports tab soon. And I was about to mention that, yes, the bulk generation of the 11705 and 11706 will be available shortly.
Another question, Padma and Wade, are the 11705 and 11706 on the docs tab the same as the ones you pull from the attestation screen?
Yes, somebody already knows the system. Yes.
I was just saying the same thing, Padma.
That was
This
from,
is
that
an
was from
expert
Cindy
test,
Arellano, I think.
an
Forgive me if I
expert
pronounced that
testing
incorrect.
us.
Right. There's a subtle difference though. The data is exactly the same, but the format is different. What you see here in the docs version is the SFPDM version of the HUD forms. What you see on the attestation screen is the GinnieNET version of the HUD forms. One difference is in GinnieNET, all the loans are together on one screen, but whereas in SFPDM, every loan is a different page. The layout is different. The elements are exactly the same. So the HUD forms, to your question, are different versions. What you see there is the GinnieNET version, and what you see here is the SFPDM version.
Another question, will the timing of the sweeps to Bank of New York Mellon be the same, 2 p.m. and the other time?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. The same rules apply. What we call recall here is delete in GinnieNET. You will be able to recall a pool with the same timings as with the sweep as in GinnieNET. They're exactly the same.
Another quick question, will we be required to use soft token at any time in the process?
Yes, that's the next step. Yes.
You're not getting away from that token.
Yes, you will need the token even to recall a pool. Yes, you
Yes.
will need it. Yes. So far, we have not used it. Yes, we will be seeing that shortly.
And someone asked if you can generate the 11711A.
No.
No.
117A, right? 11711A is now a manual form. So that's still outside of SFPDM space. There were talks about getting that on. I'm sure that might still be in GinnieNET's space, but right now, no. It's still a manual form that the issuer gives to the custodian.
And then one more question, will our existing previous pools that are in GinnieNET be available to see and monitor the process in SFPDM?
No. Pools created in SFPDM will be visible in SFPDM. Pools that are created in GinnieNET are available only in GinnieNET.
Is everyone able to recall the pool, or is it just authorized signers or administrators?
Authorized signers who have the RSA token. Basic users will not be able to do it. They do not have the token. They cannot submit, they cannot recall.
And I'm guessing that's the same today with GinnieNET, right?
Yes, separation of duties.
Then no other questions. I will now move on to the other tabs. We've seen the SFPDM pools and loans, how to create a pool. We have seen the features available on the screen. We started our demo with your setup on the maintenance screen. Now we navigate to the reports tab. This is a new functionality in SFPDM. These are not the HUD forms. These are new 3 reports that are available in SFPDM, which you did not have in the legacy system. There are 3 reports that are available: the pool status, the final certification, and the pool issuance for the month. The other 2, this being a lower environment, so they have been added. You do not have them in production. You have only 3 reports: the pool status report, the final certification status report, and the pool issue month. But in the next enhancement, we are adding the 7 HUD forms here. So you're able to generate the HUD forms in bulk for more than one pool. For one of the questions that came in earlier, yes, you will be able to generate the HUD forms for more than one pool using the reports feature, but that is available after the next release. So the way this works is you select any report, and there are 2 options available. You can generate every report either in the PDF or Excel format, and you have these available filters here. You can select all the report pools, or you can select only some selected pools that you would like to generate, and you click on download and your report will be available. Similarly, when you have the HUD forms reports available, you can select multiple pools, select the desired HUD form, but that HUD form would only be available in a PDF format. You select the desired pools, you download, and your HUD form for multiple pools will be available.
And I think this piece will help the users now, because sometimes you have to give information over to your investor reporting team, and maybe they might just want to print out of the pools and the dollar amount and the issue date. So this can help you. So this is just, we just added this as to make your life a little bit easier while you're doing your pooling via SFPDM.
Any questions? Thank you, Wade. Any questions on the reports tab? Okay, we move on to the last tab, the My Dashboard. We've seen almost all of the features, but another new feature that is available in SFPDM is the TAI Acceptance. If you create a pool as a PIIT pool, you are now able to accept that pool as the buyer issuer on the My Dashboard screen. The pools that are pending your acceptance are listed on My Dashboard. You select the pool, you provide the custodian, and you accept that pool. This is a new feature for accepting the TAI pools on My Dashboard. That completes the SFPDM part of it, but there is still more. We have submitted the pool to GinnieNET, right? Now we have to navigate to GinnieNET, and there is a new step now wherein you will have to attest to the HUD forms in GinnieNET, right? We do that by navigating to GinnieNET to attest the pools using the link Attest Pools in GinnieNET, which is available only on the SFPDM Pools and Loans tab. For the pools that you have submitted, using this link, you will now navigate to GinnieNET to attest this to your pools. That is where you provide your soft token. So by selecting this, I'm navigating to GinnieNET. This is my landing page, which I close. This gives you a list of all the pools that were translated to GinnieNET and are waiting for your attestation in GinnieNET. Until this step is complete, though you have submitted the pool in SFPDM, this pool will not be available to the custodian for approval. Only after you have viewed the HUD forms here and selected the pools, the pool will be released to the custodian. So this step is a very important step. This is where you will provide the RSA token. The pool, you have to view the HUD forms by selecting the HUD form here individually, or you could select the HUD forms in bulk by selecting all the pools, and by clicking on the view selected, it would open the stitched HUD forms of all the pools. We had 2 pools there, and I've selected the view selected, so it gives me the 11706 combined, stitched combined of all the pools that I have selected. So this is a quicker way of viewing all the HUD forms for all the pools that are pending your attestation. Now that I have viewed the HUD forms, the proceed to confirmation attestation button is enabled for me. Now I select this. After reading the text here, I confirm to the attestation of HUD forms, and you enter your GinnieNET login ID and your soft token here, and you proceed to OK. And that's when the attestation is complete and the pools are now released to the custodian for approval. Until this step is complete, you may submit the pools from there, but we receive inquiries. I've submitted the pool in SFPDM, but the custodian is not seeing it yet. It is because this step was not complete. It requires submission there and attestation in GinnieNET, and the pool will be released to the custodian. Any questions on this?
Point on that, Padma, because right now that's some of the questions we're getting on the hotline here. I submitted a pool, but I can't see to certify. Yeah, because the pools were not attested in the GinnieNET space. And I know people are saying GinnieNET. I thought that was going away. Why are we still in GinnieNET? But we're going to be doing this for a while. We're going to be doing the attestation for a while until we actually put GinnieNET out there in the sunset and say goodbye GinnieNET. So it won't be the actual process in the SFPDM space for the entire time, but for now that's the process. So I know people are asking the question, but they're thinking a question, but they're not asking to us. But I thought GinnieNET was going away. It will, but just bear with us for this attestation piece in the GinnieNET space for the time being.
Yeah, it will be going away for single family pooling, but you can still get your history, and you'll still have to do attestation and all of that other good stuff, certifications and all that good stuff.
After seeing the application today, I'm sure they're saying goodbye and using this to GinnieNET already. Any questions from anyone on this section or this attestation step? Okay, moving back to SFPDM. A quick recap of what we saw today. We navigated using a single sign-on. We logged into SFPDM. We did a subscriber setup as a prerequisite for creating polls on the SFPDM maintenance screen. We also learned that the MAMS forms have to be completed for the ACH information and the P&I information to flow through. You don't have to set it up, but the MAMS have to be completed. Once both the steps are completed, you're ready to start polling. And in order to create a pool, you have the blue button, the Add a Pool button, which is available on the Pools and Loans or on my dashboard. You select the button, you select the Enter Manually part of it. You get the blank screen, you populate all the information. Then you go to the Loans tab, add the required loans that belong to that pool. You save your data, you validate the pool. If there are any errors, you fix them. Once the pool is fully validated and successfully validated, you submit that pool to GinnieNET. Then the last step, you go to GinnieNET and you attest to that pool in GinnieNET, and the pool is now available to the custodian for approval. That concludes the demo for today. Any questions on anything?
We do have a couple of more questions. One question from Lori Green: what is the quick way to verify the unique ID assigned to loans by Ginnie Mae?
I am not sure.
Well, the unique loan ID doesn't come until the pool is actually certified by the custodian. So that's when it actually populates and is available on the 11706 screen. So that would I'm not too sure the person looking for a report. Currently, there's no report that identified that way. So maybe we can get more context on that question and try and.
So Lori, if you have a little more context that you can type in, feel free to do so. And also Colleen North asked, do I need to include the EIN for GinnieNET pools?
Yes. The same business rules apply.
Not
For a
GinnieNET too, though.
M
Not,
pools,
not
M
multiples.
pool. Okay.
C's and X
Okay.
or EIN, but not
Yeah,
the M's,
M pools.
not the twos.
Yes, GinnieNET 2 M pools do not require those. Yes.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Let's see. Eric asked, does GinnieNET or GMET provide the QSIP ID on any custom pools? I don't think the QSIP comes
No,
until
not at
later,
this time,
right?
Eric. No, not at this time. That's available the next day too. You can always, unfortunately, still, you can give us a call or send us an email, and someone on my team can get that for you and send it off to you. But it's not currently available in the application.
And Colleen added some clarity about her questions. She said, it is asking me for the EIN on a GinnieNET 2. So I'm guessing she's in SFPDM and it's asking her that. Is there any additional information we can share there?
It's not required, but if it is asking, it would be helpful if she can send a screenshot of the pool and we will look into it.
Yeah, we need to talk,
Okay.
Colleen, because it should
Yeah.
not be happening.
All right,
Or
we'll talk
M2.
offline, Colleen.
Yes.
So send us a screenshot to the Ginnie Mae 1 mailbox.
Yes, and we'll look into that. Or you can give us a call. We can talk.
We got a question, if we're currently importing loans into GinnieNET, does SFPDM use the same field IDs from the XML file? The XML file is very different from the flat file. And the names do change in some cases for the data elements that are being requested in the PDD versus the flat files. You can go to our GinnieMay.gov website, to the issuers page under modernization initiatives, and you can find the pool delivery dataset implementation guide. And the appendix D as in dog will tell you all of the new fields that are in the XML file and how they map to the current flat files. You need more information on that.
And Nicole, our team's happy to do if the user reaches out to the MISMO mailbox, which we can put in the chat, happy to do just the intro of the pool delivery data set and intro to the program to help the user get started on their development.
That's right. So that was Kimra Lowe. So you're welcome to send an email to our GinnieMay_MISMO_support@hud.gov. And we can put availability, give us availability for you, and we can give you an introduction into our PDD development for that. And that goes for anyone who has questions about the PDD import, not just Kimra. Trying to see, we have 3 more minutes. Trying to see if there was another question about, is there an easy way, Padma, to clear out the mailbox? I guess they see your 1,000 mailbox and items in your inbox. They want to know if there's a quick way to clear out the mailbox.
No, that's unfortunately not at the moment, but we're working with Ginnie Mae to put some enhancements in that area of the portal.
Okay. All right, we do have a couple of more questions, but I think what we'll try to do is take those questions offline and try to respond to you all offline with these last remaining questions. As well, how much time? I think do we still have another 15 minutes?
Yeah, this is scheduled for 90 minutes, so 3:30 Eastern time is our end date.
Okay. Let's see if we have any other. It looks like these are kind of more specific scenarios.
Yeah, Nicole, are you thinking for the specific scenarios, we'll just have our team follow up with that user?
Yeah, I think that's what we'll do for these last remaining ones. I'm just trying to get through just to make sure I see all of them.
Yeah. For the anonymous attendee that asked about the mortgage revenue bonds, if you could send that email or your question to that Mismo mailbox that's in the chat. Just since you show up as anonymous, we wouldn't be able to get back to you effectively otherwise.
But everyone else, I think, who remains, we can provide feedback. There's a question, another question, will there be a faster way to receive QSIPs with SFPDM? I think we already answered that it's still the same process as it is for GinnieNET.
Yes.
So yes, so I think everyone else is a little bit more specific as far as questions.